The scream didn't come from Juliet's mouth, it came from her chest. Because the moment she wound down the SUV window, the rain didn't just hit her face, it hit her past. There she was, a woman standing on the edge of the busy Lagos highway like she had been forgotten by the world. Her wrapper was soaked and clinging to her thin body. Her grey hair was scattered and heavy with rain. Her hands were stretched out, shaking, begging drivers who didn't even look twice. But that wasn't what made Juliet freeze. It was the woman's eyes. Juliet had seen those eyes before, not in a dream, not in an old family photo. It was the face of the woman that saved her from fire years ago. In the loud, wild night that stole her mother and nearly stole her too. "Mama Ngozi," Juliet whispered, so low that even the rain couldn't hear it. Her driver, Kunle, glanced at her through the rearview mirror. "Ma, should I move forward? This traffic—" "Stop," Juliet said sharply. Kunle's foot pressed the brake. The black SUV jerked slightly. Horns blared behind them, angry and impatient. Wipers slapped the windshield back and forth like a heartbeat racing. Juliet didn't blink. The woman outside lifted her face into the rain, and tears mixed with water on her cheeks. She looked older than Juliet remembered, smaller, like life had been taking from her in small bites for many years. Then her eyes met Juliet's, and Juliet felt it. That strange, awful thing. When you recognize someone, but your brain refuses to accept it because the truth feels too big. Juliet's fingers tightened on the window button. She rolled the glass down a little more, even though the cold rain sprayed her arm. "Mama," she called, her voice cracking. The woman flinched at the sound, like she expected an insult. Then she leaned closer, squinting through rain and traffic fumes. Juliet's heart slammed. The woman's lips parted. Her face changed, but not into joy, into confusion and fear. "No," Mama Ngozi whispered. Juliet's breath caught. She didn't know why, but that no pierced her more than if the woman had cursed her. "Do you remember me?" Juliet asked, and her voice suddenly sounded like a child's voice that didn't belong in a billionaire's car. "It's me, Juliet." Mama Ngozi's hand rose slowly, trembling. Her eyes searched Juliet's face like someone reading a letter in the dark. Then her mouth opened again. "Little Juliet," she breathed. Juliet's throat burned. She pressed her palm to her chest like she could hold her heart in place. "Yes," she said, nodding fast. "Yes, it's me. You saved me 15 years ago." The rain came harder, like it wanted to cover the moment. Cars honked again. Someone shouted from a Keki Napep behind. A bus pushed forward, splashing dirty water. Juliet didn't care. Mama Ngozi stared at her, and suddenly her face crumpled. Right there, under the rain in front of strangers, her knees weakened. She didn't fall, but she swayed like a tree that had been cut halfway. Juliet threw her door open. Kunle's voice jumped. "Madam, please." But Juliet was already out. The cold rain slapped her expensive dress. Her hair, perfectly styled for a meeting on Victoria Island, started to collapse. She didn't even notice. She grabbed her umbrella from the door pocket and stepped into the rushing noise. "Juliet," Kunle called again, stepping out too, looking around nervously. Lagos Highway wasn't a place for a billionaire heiress to stand like this. Not with the kind of enemies money creates. Juliet walked straight to Mama Ngozi. When she reached her, she held the umbrella over them both, but Mama Ngozi didn't seem to feel the cover. She was staring at Juliet like she was a ghost. Juliet reached out, slowly, gently, and touched Mama Ngozi's hand. It was ice cold, thin fingers, rough palms, the hands of a woman who had worked and worked until work stopped loving her back. "Mama," Juliet said, and her eyes filled. "How did you end up here, under the rain, begging?" Mama Ngozi swallowed hard. Her lips shook. I didn't know you would see me like this," she said, voice breaking. Juliet's chest tightened. "But why?" Juliet asked. "Where have you been all these years? We looked for you." Mama Ngozi's gaze dropped to the road, her shoulders curled inward like she was trying to become invisible. "I left," she whispered, "after the fire. I left because I thought it was safer. I thought your father would hate me." Juliet's eyes widened. "Hate you? Mama, you carried me out of that burning house. Mama Ngozie's eyes closed. When she opened them again, tears poured out, real tears this time, not just rainwater. I carried you, she said, voice shaking, but I couldn't carry your mother. I tried. Juliet's stomach turned. She had been 4 years old then. She remembered pieces, not full pictures, pieces. A loud crack, smoke, heat. Mama Ngozie's arms around her, her mother's scream, and then silence. Juliet's heart hammered. She grabbed Mama Ngozie's hand tighter. You did what you could. Mama Ngozie's mouth twisted like she was holding pain inside. The world doesn't reward what you can do, she whispered. It rewards what you did not do. Juliet blinked fast. She could feel eyes on them, drivers watching, some recording on their phones, some laughing quietly. Lagos could be kind and cruel in the same breath. Juliet turned her body slightly, shielding Mama Ngozi from the road like a wall. You're not staying here, Juliet said. Mama Ngozi looked up quickly. No, my child, please, don't trouble yourself, I will move. Trouble? Juliet repeated, and a sharp little laugh escaped her, but it wasn't happy. It was the laugh you make when your heart is hurting and you don't know what else to do. Mama, you saved my life. You didn't trouble yourself then. Mama Ngozie's face trembled. Juliet saw it. Pride, shame, fear, and something else, something that looked like she didn't believe good things could still happen. Juliet leaned closer. Do you trust me? Mama Ngozi hesitated. Her eyes flicked to Kunle, who stood nearby, tense and scanning the crowd. I trust you, Mama Ngozi said at last, but it sounded like she was stepping onto thin ice. Then come, Juliet said, get into the car. Mama Ngozi stared at the SUV like it was a palace gate she wasn't allowed to touch. Juliet didn't wait. She wrapped an arm around Mama Ngozi's shoulders. The old woman smelled like rain, dust, and something tired. Juliet guided her carefully across the wet road edge. Kunle rushed forward to open the back door, his face serious. Madam, let me help, he said. Mama Ngozi flinched at the attention. It's okay, Juliet murmured. You're safe. When Mama Ngozi finally sat on the leather seat, she did something that almost broke Juliet completely. She pressed her palms together like someone praying and whispered, God, is this real? Juliet climbed in beside her, still holding the umbrella. The rain had soaked the front of her dress. It clung to her knees. She didn't care. Kunle shut the door quickly and rushed back to the driver's seat. Juliet looked at Mama Ngozi's shaking hands. She reached into her handbag, pulled out a clean handkerchief, and gently placed it in Mama Ngozi's palms. Wipe your face, she said softly. You're with me now. Mama Ngozi stared at the cloth like it was too fine for her skin. Then she wiped her cheeks with it, slowly, and cried harder. Juliet's own tears came. Quietly. She tried to hide them by turning her face to the window, but Mama Ngozi noticed. My child, Mama Ngozi whispered. You're crying. Juliet sniffed, forcing a shaky smile. I didn't expect to find you like this. Mama Ngozi's voice went small. I didn't expect to be alive for you to find me at all. The SUV began to move again, inching forward through traffic. The horns and rain became background noise. Juliet stared ahead, but her mind wasn't on the road. It was on a burning mansion. It was on a mother who never walked out. It was on a woman sitting beside her now, who had once carried her like a precious thing. Juliet swallowed hard. Where is your home, Mama? Mama Ngozi's shoulders sank. I don't have one, she whispered. Juliet's head snapped toward her. What? Mama Ngozi's eyes shifted away. I stay. Anywhere the night catches me. Under shop roofs, under bridges when it is not too dangerous. Sometimes a kind woman lets me sleep in her corridor. Juliet's heart sank so fast it felt like falling. No, Juliet said, voice firm now, not anymore. Mama Ngozi tried to protest. Juliet, my child. Juliet shook her head. You're coming home with me. Mama Ngozi's eyes widened. To your house? Yes. Mama Ngozi swallowed like she was choking. Your father, will he allow it? Juliet's lips parted, and for a split second she almost said the words lightly. But she couldn't, because the truth carried weight. Juliet stared at the wet road outside, then whispered, My father died 2 years ago. Mama Ngozi froze. The air in the car changed. Even the rain sounded quieter. What? Mama Ngozi breathed. Juliet nodded slowly. Yes, he's gone. Mama Ngozi's hand flew to her mouth. A sound escaped her, half gasp, half sob. No, Sambo is dead. Juliet's eyes burned again. Yes, Mama. Mama Ngozi's shoulders shook. Ah, God. Juliet reached for her hand. Mama Ngozi held Juliet's fingers like she would drown without them. And then Mama Ngozi whispered something that made Juliet's stomach twist in fear. They told me he would die, Mama Ngozi said. Juliet stiffened. Who told you? Mama Ngozi's eyes darted around like she was scared the answer might be hiding in the car. She leaned closer, voice trembling. After the fire, she said, some people came to look for me. They said, I saw too much that night. Juliet's mouth went dry. Mama, Juliet whispered, what do you mean you saw too much? Mama Ngozi's breathing sped up. The SUV hit a small pothole and bounced. Mama Ngozi flinched like it was a gunshot. Juliet grabbed her shoulders gently. Mama Ngozi, look at me. What did you see? Mama Ngozi's eyes filled again. She shook her head like she didn't want to open the door of that memory. But she did. Slowly, and her words came out in broken pieces. I saw a shadow, she whispered. Not fire first, not smoke first. A shadow moving fast in Madam's room. Then a smell. Like petrol. Juliet's heart stopped for a second. Petrol. The fire that killed her mother. Juliet's voice came out thin. Are you saying… Mama Ngozi covered her mouth quickly like she had spoken too much. No, she whispered, panicking. Forget it. Forget what I said. Please. Juliet stared at her, the world narrowing. If this was true, if the fire wasn't an accident, then her whole life was built on a lie, and the people who started it might still be alive, might still be watching. Juliet's phone buzzed suddenly in her handbag. She flinched, startled, and pulled it out. A message popped up from an unknown number. Unknown number. Stop looking for what you can't handle. Some fires are meant to stay buried. Juliet's blood turned cold. She stared at the screen. Then she looked at Mama Ngozi. Mama Ngozi was already staring at her, eyes wide, terrified, like she knew, like she had been waiting for this. Juliet swallowed, forcing her voice to stay steady. Kunle, she said quietly, don't take the usual route home. Kunle's eyes met hers in the mirror. Madam? Juliet's fingers tightened around her phone. Just do it, she said. And as the SUV turned off the main road into a darker side street, Juliet realized something that made her whole body go stiff. Finding Mama Ngozi was not just a reunion, it was a trigger. And now, someone out there knew she had found her. The gate slid open slowly. Juliet watched Mama Ngozi's face as the SUV rolled into the compound. The woman's eyes widened, not in greed, not in envy, but in fear. The kind of fear that asks, do I belong here? The house stood quiet and wide, soft golden lights glowing through tall windows. Flowers lined the driveway. Everything smelled like rain and clean stone. Mama Ngozi clutched her wrapper. Juliet, this place is too big for me. Juliet turned to her. It's just a house, Mama. Mama Ngozi shook her head. No, it's a world. Inside, the warmth wrapped around them. A housekeeper rushed forward, surprised, but Juliet raised a hand. Please prepare a hot bath and dry clothes. Now. Mama Ngozi stood frozen in the living room, staring at the chandelier like it might fall on her. Her wet slippers left small marks on the marble floor. I will stain your house, she whispered. Juliet gently took her arm. You can't stain kindness. The bath water steamed. Clean clothes waited. Juliet stepped outside the guest room door and gave Mama Ngozi privacy. She leaned against the wall, breathing out slowly. Her phone buzzed again. Another message. Unknown number. Some people survive fire. Some carry it inside them. Juliet's chest tightened. When Mama Ngozi came out, she looked lighter. Wrapped in a soft robe, hair neatly tied with a scarf the housekeeper had found. Still thin, still tired, but no longer soaked by the street. Juliet smiled. You look beautiful. Mama. Ngozi's eyes filled. No one has said that to me in years. They sat at the dining table with bowls of hot soup. Mama Ngozi ate slowly, like she was afraid the food might disappear if she rushed. After I returned from the UK, Juliet said gently, I looked for you everywhere, but no one knew where you went. Mama Ngozi lowered her spoon. I moved often. I was afraid. Afraid of what? Mama Ngozi hesitated. Of the people who came after the fire. Juliet's heart thudded. You never told my father. Mama Ngozi shook her head. He was already broken. Juliet swallowed. He died 2 years ago. Mama Ngozi's spoon clattered softly. Tears rolled down again. He was a good man. Yes, Juliet said, he was. Silence settled between them, not empty. Heavy. That night, Juliet lay awake, listening to rain tap the windows. Her phone rested beside her, face down. She thought of the shadow, the petrol smell, the messages, and Mama Ngozi, asleep under her roof. Downstairs, a security light flickered. Outside the gate, a car slowed. Someone watched the house and smiled. Mama Ngozi woke before dawn. Old habits. She padded softly through the quiet house, afraid to wake anyone. When she reached the kitchen, she stopped. The counters shone, the fridge hummed gently. Nothing smelled like the streets anymore. She pressed a hand to her chest. This life is not mine, she thought. Juliet found her there an hour later, wrapped in a silk robe, hair loose. Mama, why are you hiding in my kitchen? Mama Ngozi turned, startled. I wanted to help. I don't want to be a burden. Juliet crossed the room and hugged her, just like that. No warning, no permission. You carried me out of fire, Juliet said into her shoulder. If anyone is a burden, it's me. Mama Ngozi laughed through tears. Days passed, then weeks. Juliet moved Mama Ngozi into the sunny room upstairs, the one with a small balcony facing the Ao garden. She hired a tailor to sew soft wrappers and gowns that fit Mama Ngozi's thin frame. She insisted Mama Ngozi sit at the head of the table during meals. Why? Mama Ngozi asked once, embarrassed. Because that's where mothers sit, Juliet replied. At night they talked, about Juliet's childhood in London, about Sambo's silence after the fire, about the way Mama Ngozi had learned to sleep lightly, always listening. I never planned to beg, Mama Ngozi said one evening, staring into her tea. Life pushed me there, Juliet nodded. Life pushes hard. The gala night came quietly. Juliet's company was celebrating a major expansion, new cocoa routes, new jobs. The venue in Victoria Island glowed with lights. Music floated like silk. Mama Ngozi stood in front of the mirror, trembling in a deep blue gown. Her hair was neatly braided, simple gold earrings shone at her ears. I don't belong here, she whispered. Juliet took her hands. You belong with me. When they entered together, heads turned, whispers followed. That's her mother. No, I heard it's a former nanny. Mama Ngozi shrank slightly. Juliet lifted her chin. Walk with me. On stage, Juliet spoke clearly. Tonight is about growth, but also gratitude. She paused, looked at Mama Ngozi. Some people save lives quietly, she said, and the world forgets them. I won't. Applause thundered. Mama Ngozi cried openly, shoulders shaking. After that night, the whispers changed. She's lucky. She's enjoying what she didn't work for. Mama Ngozi heard them. It hurt. Juliet noticed the tension. Security reports grew longer. Strange cars lingered near the gate. Anonymous messages returned. Unknown number. Some debts are paid in blood. Juliet didn't show Mama Ngozi. 3 years passed like this. Soft days, guarded nights. Then Juliet met Abraham. Kind eyes. Steady voice. A man who listened. 4 days to the wedding. Mama Ngozi held Juliet's face and smiled. God has been kind to you. Juliet hugged her tightly. That night, the power went out. The gate alarm screamed, and shadows poured into the compound. The darkness felt planned. Not sudden, not accidental. The generator failed. The security lights died. The garden disappeared into blackness, and the alarm screamed like a wounded animal. Juliet's heart jumped. "Abraham!" she shouted, running into the hallway barefoot. Footsteps thundered. Voices, harsh, angry, unfamiliar, cut through the night. "Take her, now!" Juliet turned, panic flooding her chest. She saw them then, 4 men, faces covered, weapons glinting faintly in the dark. Abraham rushed from the guest room, but one of the men struck him hard. He fell against the wall with a cry. Juliet screamed. Strong hands grabbed her arms, dragging her backward. "Let go of me," she cried, kicking wildly. They pulled her toward the front door, and then a body moved in front of them. Mama Ngozi. She stood there in her wrapper, hair loose, shaking, but standing. "No," she said. Her voice was small, but it filled the space. "You will not touch my child." One man laughed. "Old woman, move." Mama Ngozi spread her arms wide. "I stood once before," she said, breathing hard. "I will stand again." Juliet sobbed. "Mama, please." Mama Ngozi didn't look back. The men hesitated, annoyed. "Push her aside," one snapped. But Mama Ngozi didn't move. She didn't run. She didn't beg. She just stood. The shot came without warning, a loud crack. Too loud, too final. Mama Ngozi jerked once, eyes wide with surprise. Then she fell. "No!" Juliet screamed. Everything broke at once. Juliet tore free and dropped beside her, hands shaking, pressing against blood that wouldn't stop. "Mama! Mama, please look at me." Mama Ngozi's lips trembled. Her breathing came shallow. Juliet sobbed uncontrollably. "Stay with me. Please, help is coming." Mama Ngozi's hand found Juliet's face, weak, warm. "My child," she whispered. "Don't cry." Juliet shook her head violently. "I can't lose you." Mama Ngozi smiled faintly. "You already found me again." Footsteps fled, engines roared, the attackers vanished into the night. Abraham crawled toward them, blood on his lip. "Call an ambulance, hurry!" Sirens wailed in the distance. Mama Ngozi's eyes softened. She held Juliet's hand tighter. "Thank you for all you did for me," she whispered. "You made me happy." Juliet cried openly now. "You're coming to my wedding, you promised." Mama Ngozi's breath rattled. "Go ahead with it," she said gently. "God will bless your home." Her hand slipped. The sirens arrived. Too late. Juliet screamed into the night. The cemetery was quiet, too quiet for a woman who once ran into fire without thinking. Juliet stood beside the grave, dressed in iatedasin's black, her hands shaking slightly as soil hit the coffin below. Each sound felt like a final door closing. Abraham stood close, his arm around her shoulders, holding her up when her legs felt weak. Mama Ngozi was gone. Gone like Juliet's mother. Gone like the night fire that never truly left Juliet's life. Juliet didn't cry loudly. Her tears came slow and steady, the kind that fall when shock has settled and pain has learned how to breathe. "She died protecting you," Abraham whispered. Juliet nodded. That was who she was. People came and went. Executives, old neighbors, staff who had grown used to calling Mama Ngozi Mama. Some cried, some bowed their heads. A few stood far away, silent, uncomfortable. Juliet noticed them. The same faces she had seen whispering at parties. The same eyes that never liked seeing Mama Ngozi walk in silk. The police said the attackers were unknown. Juliet knew better. That night, alone in her room, Juliet sat on the edge of her bed and held Mama Ngozi's scarf to her face. It still smelled like her, soap, warmth, home. She remembered Mama Ngozi's last words. "Go ahead with your wedding." Juliet almost didn't. The thought of smiling felt like betrayal. But Abraham held her hands gently and said, "She didn't save your life twice for fear to win in the end." 4 days later, Juliet walked down the aisle. Her steps were slow, her heart was heavy, but her head was high. At the reception, Juliet did something no one expected. She stood before the guests, microphone trembling slightly in her hand. "This wedding is not just about love," she said. "It is about courage, about sacrifice, about a woman who had nothing, yet gave everything." The room went silent. "She saved my life as a nanny, and she saved it again as a mother." Tears filled many eyes. After the wedding, Juliet made changes. Quiet ones. She funded shelters for elderly women across Lagos. She named the foundation the Mama Ngozi Home. She reopened the fire case. This time she did not stop. And somewhere deep inside Juliet, something shifted. The fear that once lived in her chest gave way to purpose. She understood it now. Kindness does not always return quickly. Sometimes it waits years. Sometimes it returns with pain, but it always leaves a mark. And Mama Ngozi's mark would never fade. If you like this story, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel for more interesting stories.